Okay, but I have a lot of mitochondrial damage. I've got a lot of senescent cells. I've got a lot of things that I did because I was guzzling down heaps and heaps and heaps of seed oils and damaging my mitochondria for the last multiple decades. You know, one of my favorite foods was basically having fish fingers and potatoes fried in seed oil nearly every night or second night. Now, that's a lot of consumption. No wonder I got heart disease at the age of 44. And especially I started doing that when I started living alone, because then I wasn't eating with my parents anymore. I was eating alone, and, you know, I was going to eat my favorite foods and drink heaps and heaps of alcohol and smoke and do all these sort of wonderful things that I did. And I paid for it. So, yeah, we're not like our ancestors. We're not healthy. We're not in that sort of state. We've done quite a lot of damage. Let's put it that way. So consider your, oops, what was it? Go away. Consider yourself very, very lucky that you're probably not as damaged as people like me. So, as I say to people, we're on a different journey, all of us, of healing at a different rate. Like myself, I'm still healing certain things, trying to get my energy levels up to a more youthful level. That's going to still take another decade for me, to slowly with the deuterium depletion, slowly with trying to dilute my fat cells with that I've got a lot of stored deuterium, all that, because I don't want another brain fog incident like I did last time when I dropped. It's very easy to drop weight. Let me put it that way. I could tomorrow rip myself really fast, but I'd end up like an attractive corpse, not something that I'm looking forward to. Remember that other lady who is that died recently in the low carb community? She consumed a lot of seed oils in the past as well, and she would have had a whole lot. And she actually lost rapid weight as well on a keto diet because she was doing a more vegetarian style. I forget her name now, and she actually died from cancer.
By the way, Harry, I don't know if you've seen this, but even Mike the Vegan did a video on this. But recently there was this carnivore lady that she posted that she had a stroke on carnivore, and obviously everyone's like, you know,
Yep.
taking it. Oh my God, the carnivore diet, stroke, it's going to kill you up.
Which is nonsense, which is not. She is not a person who's been on a carnivore diet. How long has she been? A couple of months, I think the lady was.
Yeah.
Yeah. It takes decades to accumulate damage. That is all from her previous diet, pretty much. That's all it is from a previous diet. And it also may be she's probably had rapid weight loss, released a whole lot of deuterium out of her fat cells. Guess where that went to? Into the peripheral tissue, her brain and elsewhere. Guess what damage it did? It did cellular damage and damage to the mitochondria in those things. When you do mitochondrial damage, what happens? You've got less mitochondrial capacity to fix things. Less energy, less ATP. So what do you think is going to happen? Your body's trying to keep you alive. Richard says, hole in the heart, etc., that contributed to the stroke. Okay, she had a hole in the heart. Okay, that can cause that problem. Okay. Yeah, so that's, good point. I wasn't aware of that. Yeah, if you've got a hole in the heart, a friend of mine had that. She had actually had to have surgery, and she's not on a carnivore diet. She's on a mixed diet, on a standard Greek sort of Mediterranean, carb-centric diet. And she continued with her low carb. Thanks, Richard. Appreciate it. Good to see you here. Yeah, look, that is well known. People that have holes in their hearts and stuff like that, that can actually have slightly more predisposed to strokes. So, yeah, that's a medical condition, an underlying medical condition that she had. Yeah, appreciate it, because I wasn't aware of her other condition. That's an important point that some people seem to forget. And it's the same thing with, people that have got pre-existing conditions. You got a lot of damage to your mitochondria. You're not going to be like some young kid that goes on a carnivore diet and actually gets ripped and looks fantastic. If you're a middle-aged person that's had a lot of health problems, you're going to basically be healing slowly and and if you're not careful about it, you could potentially cause yourself more problems from deuterium being released from your fat cells at very high rates, getting around and damaging your mitochondria and setting you back even further in your healing process. So that's why I did that video. It's a really important video that I did. Let me see if I can find it. I think that's why you guys come to me, because I talk about things that nobody else talks about, because they're completely oblivious or unaware of these issues. As I said to people, if you're a carnivore from birth, like the Maasai or the Inuit, throughout the whole of your life, there hasn't been one incident, not one. Actually, the biggest problem with the Inuit is that their blood's too thin, and in some cases, it takes longer for them to heal from the bleeding. But they do not have incidences until they actually get into the modern foods. That's when their health goes to shit. But up until then, in the old days, nothing was recorded, not even cancer lesions, nothing. Simply put, they were considered immune genetically at the time until they met the SAD diet, and then that whole notion that Inuit are genetically able to consume a lot of animal foods without any deleterious effects, and then they incorporated plant foods, and then their health went to shit. And nobody talks about that anymore because they know it's nonsense. It's completely and utter nonsense. I'm not finding it. 500 videos. Hard to find between 500 videos. I've got on my playlist. It's in the cancer playlist, that video. And I cover that point because it's really bloody important. And people, this is why I say to people, if you've been exposed to high levels of deuterium, be very bloody careful. If you're doing deuterium depleted water, if you're doing weight loss, and make sure it's 85 ppm, parts per million. Otherwise, do not do rapid weight loss or weight loss of any sort or whatever. And that's if you've been exposed to small amounts. If you've been exposed to large amounts, I would say you need to do about 7 years on things like liquid fats, like, cream. So eat more fat that you actually need to maintain weight stability, and turn over your fat cells to clear out the deuterium levels, and then experiment with short bouts of like 1 month weight loss, see how you go, then weight stable again, allow your body to heal. It's for the reason, unfortunately, all the damaging effects and all that. And I'm concerned about putting people at risk. It seems like everybody else just wants them to be ripped and look attractive. I'm more interested in basically making sure they survive and stay alive for a longer period of time on this planet.